Hey, it's Matt from Hidden Machine here with another First Impressions video. Today I want to talk about the brand new demo for Beyond Sunset. Metacorp, the developer and publisher of the game, describes it as a first-person RPG featuring high-octane action, graphics inspired by classic DOS games, and an original story in a highly developed game world. Now this demo just dropped. It became available on Thursday, January 20th, and as soon as I saw the notification for it, I picked it up and played through it, and I was really into it. Maybe you saw the trailer during Realms Deep over the summer and you were wondering, oh, is that demo any good? Well, if you want to just check out now, I can say, hell yeah, it totally delivers, so much so that I immediately went over to Patreon to support the development of this game and also to gain access to episode 1. The demo is episode 0, and you can get an early build of episode 1, which is still in a rough state, but there is an update patch coming very soon in this month of January. So if you want to see how the game is going beyond this opening mission here in the demo, you can go over to their Patreon and support them. I'm not being, paid to say that or anything. I'm just really into what they're doing and would like to see this game get all the support and love it can get. That being said, let's talk about what the demo actually delivers. All in all, I spent about 2.5 hours with this demo on normal difficulty, and that was me going through and trying to find all the secrets and 100% everything, and I also spent a little time with the boss because I was getting my ass kicked for a long time and had to really just sharpen up my old school FPS skills. I haven't really been challenged like that in a really long time in a game like this. Essentially, the game sees you in the year 20XX. You've just woken up from cryostasis and you've lost your identity, your memories. You have no idea what's going on. You've been in a, long hypersleep, and you've escaped from your pod, and now you're going through this building, this facility that was holding you and holding many other people, and you're trying to find your way out. You get a call from a mysterious stranger who guides you through on your first set of tasks to get you out of that building, and from there on out, you're free to explore this really fun map and complete your objectives. The facility you find yourself in is, super high tech. There's an office building area, like a med bay type area. There's cooling for giant supercomputers. There's a greenhouse area. There's sort of these large, like cyber catacomb tunnel areas. It's a very big map for the first opening level. It's totally satisfying here. Going back to the Steam page, it does mention graphics inspired by DOS FPS games from the era of Doom and Duke Nukem 3D. Duke Nukem 3D is what came to mind in terms of the overall, build engine style, but also the way you could explore these levels. I don't know, I really have a very fond place in my heart and mind and my memory for Duke Nukem 3D, and especially those first, maybe 5 or 6 opening levels and those maps and just finding all the different pathways, finding, ways to unlock these compartments or this or that, and elevators and secret entrances and everything like that. It's something that I think is lost in a lot of modern FPS games, is exploring these really creative build engine style maps where there's a lot of verticality, there's a lot of unlocking things, and kind of you can see that secrets are kind of telegraphed. You're like, oh, I see that locked door there. I know that somewhere in this map I'm gonna find a place to open that. I gotta make mental note. This demo really scratches that itch. There's a few different NPCs that give you basically like mini quests within this demo. So there's a lot more going on than I first expected. I even came to find that different dialogue choices would affect whether I got a quest or not from a certain NPC. So I'm really curious to see how that develops in the full game, because it seems like there's a lot of replayability, not only in terms of, it's a very fast-paced kind of game. These games, you move fast in those old FPS games. But also it seems like the kind of game where there's a lot of secrets to find, even in this first mission. I'm sure this game is going to be packed full of a lot of secrets and things to explore. And from what I'm reading, and I'm only reading about this and I'm speculating to a degree, but it does seem like they have a lot of lore and a lot of ideas for side quests, NPCs, and world building that I think this is going to be a pretty rich experience once it gets off the ground, and that will be a projected release date of summer 2023. But again, we're just trying to discuss this demo right now. It's a sizable experience, and I definitely feel it justifies, making a video on it and trying to get the word out, because I think that if you're a fan of these old school FPS games, this is really, really doing it right. Now, as much as it is definitely inspired by the old school DOS games and the look, sound effects, the enemies have a great, bit crush death scream that I never got tired of hearing. It also has some modern things going on. So there's a sort of slide move that you can do. You can do a double jump. So you have this like quick dash double jump combo you can do in midair. You can also use it on the ground. You have a little power meter down in the bottom left, and every time it's full, you can press F to do a sort of special attack on an enemy, which will explode them into a cache of ammo and health. And that's something that definitely reminds me of the modern Doom games. In the demo, I found 4 weapons. You start out with a sword, which you can use for melee attacks like you'd expect, but also you can use the right mouse button to deflect shots and send bullets back to enemies. And it works really well. It kind of auto aims for you a little bit. Like if you deflect the shot, it's going to go right back at them. The mechanic works really well. You also get a pistol, which has unlimited ammo, and the charged shot on the pistol can be used to break down enemy shields. And when you blow up an enemy shield, you get little pickups that replenish your shield. I found a sort of light machine gun that you can actually dual wield, and also a shotgun. And the shotgun feels good and powerful. It's got a very good rhythm to it. I don't know, I was using it to unload on the boss and it felt good. You can get 16 shots in there. There's no reloading in this game, which I honestly really appreciate for faster shooters like this, not having to stop and reload. And it does work really well, having to switch between weapons, your sword to deflect shots, and then you got to get your pistol out to break down a shield. And then, you could use the pistol, but you're usually getting flanked by a bunch of different enemies, so you want to use the machine guns to kind of take them all out as quickly as possible. And it works pretty nicely. I had a little trouble just switching on the fly because I wasn't totally used to doing that. Like using the number keys to get from weapon to weapon. You can use the mouse wheel to scroll, but sometimes, I wasn't scrolling to the right place. So it did take me a little, time to sharpen my skills to get through that boss battle. But that's not a knock on the game at all. That's just me being dusty, really. There is a little auto map you can pull up, and you can see it has all the different secrets, signified by these question marks. And I like that. I like knowing where some shit is. That's a modern gamer thing. Not having everything be so drastically cryptic. I feel like I'm cheating a little bit, but hey, the game gave it to you, so you better use it. Now, I've mentioned several times that the game has a really fun, build engine style delivery, especially with the maps and the secrets and the switches and all that kind of shit. The game also has this other section where you go into a sort of VR realm, and it's a throwback to Catacombs 3D. And I thought this was really, really cool. Now maybe it's more of a throwback to Heretic or Hexen for you, but to me, I thought Catacombs 3D, it really is a loving tribute to that first generation of FPS type games, and I think this works really well. There's a very interesting sort of puzzle mechanic here where you need to hit these switches to direct an energy flow through the level. It's really, really engaging, and there's multiple paths with it and different ways to not only accomplish your goal, but find little secrets along the way. And I was just in love with this mechanic, and I think it's going to make for a really fun sort of mini game or side sort of thing if it does continue to appear in other missions and other episodes throughout the rest of the game. And speaking of this sort of, VR Catacombs 3D type level, a NPC that I interacted with earlier in the game, I completed a little side quest for them. I met them in this realm and they upgraded me to a triple shot, and that was really cool. So that's the kind of like interactivity and depth that you can come to expect from this demo. There's a lot to explore. It's a pretty jam-packed thing, and I'm really hoping that people get on this and put some support behind this game, because I think there's a really good thing brewing here. Now, I think there's a lot of gushing, and I'm saying a lot of positive stuff. If I have to give some criticisms, the game opens up with a mini tutorial that it's good. It taught me the mechanics, shooting, jumping, deflecting, everything like that. As soon as you get into the game, it opens up with what I found to be a very frustrating and kind of long platforming section. I was expecting to get into some action. I saw this action in the trailer, and I was a little turned off by this extended platforming section. And I think the thing that made it the most frustrating for me was that when you jump and you hit the edge of a platform, you kind of automatically pull yourself up onto the platform. So you can kind of, not really miss your jump, but you don't need to land on top of the platform. You can kind of hit the side of it and pull yourself up to a degree. And I didn't realize that until I had done this section a bunch of times, because I was overcompensating my jumps. I don't feel like that sort of little pull-up mechanic was explained in the tutorial section. So having that sort of frustration of like really trying to get these fucking jumps down and really, being just kind of feeling pummeled with this first-person platforming section, which I do not like this kind of stuff in general in FPS games. So remember that as I'm saying this. I'm someone who has a sort of, prejudice against these sections anyway. So maybe I'm just being a big whining ass baby. But I do feel like I would have gotten through it a lot quicker if I knew going into it that you can pull yourself up automatically when you hit the edges of these platforms. And maybe that was communicated in some way in the tutorial, but I didn't pick up on it, and I don't think it was said explicitly. And the other reason for me that section was kind of frustrating in hindsight is that aside from maybe one or two areas in the map, you don't really have to do this much platforming anywhere else. These skills don't really seem to benefit, the rest of the run. Now, this is just the first kind of opening mission of the game. Who knows what kind of world they're building and how much, platforming will be in the rest of the game, and how important those skills might be to, hone and develop early on, so you can kind of get the most out of your experience as the game goes deeper. I don't know. I can't speculate on that, but it's the one kind of minor gripe I have with this demo, was just like, Jesus Christ, I gotta fucking do these jumps again, and not fully understanding how the jump assist in the game is actually really solid. And after learning that, the rest of the platforming I did encounter in the map was a lot more enjoyable. And I think a lot of FPS games, could benefit from a similar sort of, pull-up system, as if you kind of grab the edge of a ledge and pull yourself up, but it just happens very smoothly, and it was kind of so transparent that I didn't realize it was happening at first. So that's really a pretty minor gripe, honestly. I just, I need to be totally transparent about my feelings about the game in this little off-the-cuff rambling review. It does end with a boss battle that at first I thought was incredibly difficult until I got into the rhythm and really got pretty tight with switching my weapons, and you know, in a lot of my runs I was accidentally hitting the map key or accidentally opening the console. But once I got past all that and had my fingers, you know, trained, I nailed it. And so to close this out, I am going to show the boss battle. So spoilers, if you don't want to see it, you can check out now. We got a lot of other cool stuff on the channel, more first impression videos, some more deep discussions, some lore exploration, some, you know, skits. Look, we got everything. Just fucking check out the channel, okay? If you like this, subscribe, tell a friend, and please check out Beyond Sunset. And if you did check this game out, really curious to hear what you think. You know, I get hype on a lot of indie games. I really like seeing indie creators do their thing and bring new ideas to the table, or, you know, polish up old ideas. But I don't think I've ever felt compelled to immediately go out and give money to someone who had presented a free demo. So you know, I'm gonna give this the double stamp of approval, and with that, here's me trying to crush this boss. All right, see ya.